Welcome to the video for the code review / code showing for Final Project Part 2 Mars Expedition Building the Base. So to start off, so over here, essentially the Part 2 is kind of more of an attachment to Part 1. That's why you see a lot of the same classes from Part 1 brought to Part 2, since, as I said, it kind of felt more of an attachment, and hence the word it being a Part 2 of the final project. So I'm probably not going to explain a lot on like some of the previous classes that have already been in Part 1. Instead, I'm just going to go on the objectives of Part 2. So to start off, cafeteria. So when constructing the cafeteria, let me scroll down a little bit more. Where is it? It's pretty far down. There it is. Okay. So first off, the method for the cafeteria construction has a throws interrupted exception. This is because of the thread dot sleep mills, which I'll get more into. But over here you have your declared variables. Over here you have a random number generator for the percent increase in the how much of the cafeteria has been constructed. Over here you have another random number generator that goes with the range of 24 hours to 48 hours. And over here, this is just kind of the start off that the current cafeteria construction status is at 0%. And over here, you have the looping system for the construction. So, as I said previously, over here is the thread.sleep millis 1000. So this essentially connects to the throws interrupted exception, because this is so it can apply a sort of pausing delay to the entire looping system. So instead of the looping system just continuously throwing out the data of how many hours are into the construction and the percentage of the construction, it'll state it for one segment and then pause for a second and then load up again, update, and then wait another second, and it'll keep on updating every 1 second. Over here you have this. First off, it'll state the current construction time length, so this will state how long the construction has been. And then below that will be the status of the construction on the cafeteria through a percentage. And over here I have a if statement in case, so once the percentage starts reaching a specific limit, this will essentially have it so it kind of hurries up the progress of like the last couple 5% or 6% actually over here. And this over here you have the time increasing at incrementing by 2 hours. And let's see, command center, same as the cafeteria and really all the other pods, new pods from part 1. If I were to go down here and see all the declared variables, the throws interrupted exception for the thread.sleep to have the 1 second pause and updating the construction on both the hours and the percentage. So it's pretty much the same thing here, which is also accordingly to the dormitory. Still have the same thing. You have the dormitory construction method, declared variables, the random number generators, declaring that the current construction status is at 0%, and the looping system that keeps increasing both the hours and the percentage of how far you are into the construction, and the little pause. Same here with the laboratory. As you can see, method, declared variables, random number generators, declaring that the status is at 0%, a thread.sleep, throws interrupted exception, will update every second to not throw so much information at the user. And then what was the last? There it is. The storage. same as all the other four previous pods. Method for the construction, declared variables, throws interrupted exception, the random number generators for the percentage increase and the increment and the hours between 24 hours and 48 hours, declaring it that the current construction is at 0%, and the whole looping system with the thread.sleep to update the user on how far construction has gone in hours and how much of it has been completed in a percentage. And let's see, we also have the rover searching class over here. So I have the constructor of rover searching, which probably I'm going to comment that actually right now, because I have forgotten about that. Here we go. Over here you have a random number generator for the quadrant, and essentially it'll randomly pick a quadrant between 1 and 21 and place the rover there. Over here I declared a integer variable for the amount of attempts the user, or I guess the captain, has taken to find the rover. And then over here, collect the user input on the number picking, on what the captain or the user has decided on which quadrant number they believe the rover is at in. And then over here you have a kind of a Boolean variable to loop the entire rover searching until the user finds the rover. So in the while loop system with the Boolean variable, you have the rover searching introduction over here. Give it kind of an introduction on what this class does when executed. You have over here that we are sure that the rover is within quadrant 1 through 21. We need you to guess a number for us to ping the rover's location. And then over here, guess a quadrant 1 through 21. Then it'll collect the input from the user, and then it'll state out that it's sending out a ping, or essentially telling the user that, okay, we got your number, and we're gonna tell you if you found the rover in the right quadrant or not. And meanwhile, while that's happening, the number of attempts increments by 1. So over here, you have the if statement of if the user has guessed the right number quadrant, then they, I suppose, win is true, meaning that it'll lead you back over here to displacing the user information, saying you have found that rover, the quadrant location of that rover was, I'll recall back the number in which you found the quadrant, and then below that will tell you the number of attempts it took you to find the rover. Then you have an if-else. So I decided to put 2 if-elses to kind of just give out like a hint to the user. So there's an if-else over here. So whenever the user guessed a number that is less than the actual quadrant number, then it'll say over here, it'll state out your guess is too low. And then there's the other else if statement of if the user guessed a number that's higher than where the actual quadrant number is, then it'll tell the user that your guess is too high. So now, time to execute this to the main. So as I stated, you see over here, it's incrementing through the percentage and the time. It's going up by 2 hours and then stating the status of each percentage. And it's telling you that the hours being worked on in the dormitory. So that keeps going up, and then it's pausing every second. So the user doesn't, as I previously said, gets thrown by all this information immediately. And then this is when the captain has gone off to inspect the dormitory. This is where you get to inspect the water system of the dormitory. So do you want to turn on the water system? Yes. Turning on water. Do you want to continue running the water? No. Turning off the water. And then it goes to the cafeteria. The status report on the cafeteria gives the same information from previous part 1. As you can see, it's starting to increment over here. See the percentage and the hours going up until the percentage is higher. Oh, hold on. Let me check if I did comment on. Hold on. I want to make sure. I probably stated actually here in the main. Give a little bit more detail on it. Oh yeah. With one of the objectives was to print out the name of the crew members, the commander, captain, +4. So you have your commander with their name, and the 4 members with their roles and their suit condition and their health condition also. And let me go back down here. Okay, so for each pod, you have over here it's stating it's recalling the method of the construction. This applies for every pod. And then below that recalls the systems and functions applied within each pod individually over here. I'm going to rerun this again. So going up, percentage. Oh, and as also the rover searching objective is met at the very bottom of the main. So essentially once all the construction has been done, the inspection has been done, then it'll lead you to the rover searching mechanic of the program, I suppose. So I'm just going to type here, no, it's not going to turn on the water. It's just going to continue on the progress, construction progress, and how long it's taking for the cafeteria, is it? Yeah, the cafeteria to build. Going up and up and up and up. Okay, would you like access to the cafeteria system? Yes. Then over here, gives you a cafeteria system menu, so essentially you get to inspect the water system of the cafeteria, the actual status system of the cafeteria on whether it's open or closed, access the meal and cleaning system, whether the meal cooking bot and the cleaning bot are prepared and are doing their duties when needed, and then they can or you can also just exit the cafeteria access menu and just continue on to what would be the next pod, which is the laboratory. I'm just gonna give a little example over here of the cafeteria menu system. So let's say I want to access the meal and first I want to access the status system in the cafeteria. This is running through a switch system or condition in the appropriate class. Is the cafeteria available? False. Do you want to open the cafeteria? Yes. And then it states here, opening the cafeteria. Is the cafeteria available? True. Do you want to continue having the cafeteria open? Yes. Opening the cafeteria. And it'll keep telling you that until you no longer want the cafeteria opened. And let's say also, the same kind of method applies also for the water system. The water system and the status system on whether it's open or closed are very similar. Then you have the meal and cleaning system of the cafeteria. Press 3. Would you like a meal prepared? Yes. Preparing meal. Would you like another meal? Sure. And then it'll state, is the cafeteria clean? False. Would you like to send the cleaning bot now? Yes. Then it'll state that it has turned on the cleaning bot and cleaning cafeteria, and it's now the cafeteria is clean, but also because you previously stated that you wanted a meal before the cleaning, it'll state that another meal has been prepared. So I don't want another meal, and then now the cafeteria is closed because you wanted 2 meals. And it'll state, would you like to send the cleaning bot now? Yes. And it'll state that the cleaning bot is cleaning the cafeteria, and that is the cafeteria clean is true. So 4 to exit out of the switch. Then laboratory, giving off its progress on its construction, its hours. Also, every pod has their attributes within their own constructors, which was their pod names, colors, entry code, temperature. It's the same done. Yes. Would you like to open the laboratory? Yes. Oh, I did have an issue with the percentage and the hours. I couldn't I wasn't able to make it so there'd be a guarantee that 100% would be reached. That's why I had to implement the if statements before. No, that's part of the rover. The if statements just to try to catch the range in which it comes to hurry up the progress. But anyways, the captain has gone to inspect the laboratory. Would you like to open the laboratory? Yes. And then it asks you to enter your security level. If you input 1, you have the highest level of security, which is only applied to the captain and the scientist. Security level 2 is applied for the doctor, which are granted partial access to the laboratory. Then you have security level 3, which essentially grants you really no access to the laboratory. Also over here you can enter 4, Texas Laboratory, but I'm going to enter 1 just to enter the laboratory. Or, yeah, welcome to, it'll state there, welcome to the laboratory. Give out the people who do have that role of a level 1 security level, and it'll state what axis of the laboratory you have opened. And now if I press 4, it'll exit me out and should continue on with the command center's loading structure. Over there it's going at 0, incrementing by 2, going up and up, pausing every second. So, there we go. Construction status 100% complete. Would you like to open the command center? Yes. Input the captain order number, which is 501, and over there, and should say access granted, command center opened. Now it's going to go to the storage, which is the last pod. Start constructing that, incrementing by every 2 hours. Percentage goes up depending on the random number generator I implemented. And then you have here the ability to change the current humidity. Would you like to change the humidity? Yeah. This is for part of the inspection. Type exit to change the to not change the humidity. Would you like to increase or decrease the humidity? So all this functionality of the pods on their water systems, their cleaning systems, the meal systems, the access systems are all part of the inspection of the captain, as once the completion is done, the captain goes in through that pod, checks if every functionality is doing what it's supposed to do. But either way, I'm going to increase the humidity. So previously it stated the current humidity was 60%, but how much would you like to change the humidity? Let's just put it by 10%. And then there you go, current humidity, 70%. And then I'm going to type exit now, which should leave us to the final part of this, and that's the rover searching. So now, status report and inspection complete. Time to go find the rover. Captain, we need you to go find the rover. We seem to have lost it. We are sure that the rover is within quadrant 1 through 21. And then we need you to guess the number to ping the location of the rover. So if I were to put 5, let's see what it gets. It says sending out ping. Your guess is too high, so inside out the user to input now a number that's less than what they originally inputted. So I'm going to try 3, and then now it says it's too low, and because of that it would most likely going to be 4. Yep, sending out ping, you have found the rover, as stated here. And then the quadrant location of the rover restates where the original location was and tells you the number of attempts you had in trying to ping the location correctly, ping the location of the rover. And then right below that should say all the objectives are complete and have a nice day, Captain. And that concludes the code review / code showing for the final project part 2, Mars Expedition, building the base.